Here's Legend back here with another review, and this time we're going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite horror movies, possibly my #1 favorite horror movie of all time, and that is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, based off the Stephen King novel of the same name, but barely follows the characters or certain plot points of said novel. This movie stands on its own, and I love it. This movie is fantastic. This is directed by Stanley Kubrick. He's not one of my all-time favorite directors. He's a director I do respect, but I also criticize because I find him to be, a little self-obsessed, self-indulgent, but not taking away from the man's talent. I just think the subject, the way he can treat his subject matter, can be a little too, a little too much for me. Where he like with that, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. We're talking about The Shining and what I love about The Shining, and I love everything about this movie. I love the acting from Jack Nicholson, who plays Jack Torrance, and the second you see Jack Torrance on screen, you are immediately on edge, because this man looks like he can snap at any second. It's just gonna take that one flicker of light that will just make him grab a weapon and just stab the shit out of you. That's how hauntingly creepy Nicholson's performance is as Jack throughout the entire movie, even when he's not crazy. But when he goes crazy, he ranks that shit up to 11, and you're just like, fuck me. I love his son, Dan. I like Danny Lloyd as young Dan, as his son. Danny Lloyd, the actor, has such a likability to him that when you watch him on screen, you are legitimately scared for him, and you just want to just jump into the movie and just protect him from all the crap that's happening to him, all the shit that he's seeing, what's about to happen with his father, and all that good stuff. I like Shelley Duvall as Wendy. Her performance, as I do like her in the movie. Her performance, though, can be very up and down in a lot of areas. I think she can come across as very wooden in certain scenes and very weak in certain scenes. I think she has a hard time trying to juggle all that, but I give her credit for attempting to juggle all that. And you also got to factor in that behind the scenes, her and Kubrick were always constantly butting heads. So I give her a lot of credit for this thing. I love Scatman Crothers as Dick Halloran. He has such this very likable presence to him, and I just love the natural chemistry that develops between him and Dan Lloyd. And Scatman Crothers as Dick Halloran, like I said, comes across as very likable, very friendly, very, very charismatic in the scenes that he's in, and you genuinely believe that he cares about this family and wants to make sure that nothing bad happens to them, especially Danny. I like all that, and of course, it also helps that both Dick and Danny share the ability called The Shining, which is pretty much like psychic abilities in a way. Just picture the Force, only a more sinister version of the Force, without the ability to move objects around. But the thing that stays with you the most in this movie is the imagery and its claustrophobic atmosphere and this hauntingly beautiful overlook hotel, which in and of itself is a brooding character. Just the overall look of this thing is magnificent, and Stanley Kubrick's visual style is amazing. This is a slow burn horror movie, but it works, and it's never boring. Every scene means something, and that's very rare in a horror movie, for every scene to mean something. And the whole, like I said, the whole claustrophobic atmosphere just adds on to the tension and the pacing, and you feel like you're going insane at the same time Jack Torrance is going insane. You feel scared at the same time little Danny's feeling scared when they're seeing the ghosts and they're seeing this disturbing imagery, like the blood coming out of the elevator, the two creepy girls that Danny sees that say, "Come play with us." The guy in the bear suit giving head to some guy in a room. That creepy lady in room 237 that fucking scared me when I was a kid. Just that just it's not the way the woman looks. it's that cackling laugh she just makes while walking slowly towards Jack after she like, and it's just like gave me the chills as a kid. And of course, you know, you got the awesome bar scene when Jack is talking to Lloyd the bartender, and you got that great bathroom scene where he's talking to Grady, and Jack is talking to the Grady that was mentioned in an earlier scene to have killed his wife and daughters after he just went crazy by the hotel. You know, this movie is so like intricate. This movie drops like these little things, and then it all ties together. But it also has other things as well. That I love how this movie leaves everything open to interpretation, because you can view it any way you want, and I love it for that. It's one of those rare horror movies that there are no wrong or right answers. It's how you see it and how you want it to be presented. And of course, the entire climax of this movie is just edge of your seat, bone-chillingly, balls to the wall, batshit insanity. From the second Jack is just, you know, from the second you see Wendy sees the whole all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy thing on the typewriter, to Jack, you know, coming towards Wendy and saying, "I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in. Bash your fucking brains in." And then he has the axe. He has the two lines that I love, like, "Wendy, I'm home," and of course the infamous "Here's Johnny." Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. And of course, this all leads to this, you know, grand, I think, is a awesome climax, very suspenseful climax, where we've established this hedge maze, and the whole look of the hedge maze is great. And there's also this really cool shot where you see this miniaturized hedge maze, and the camera slowly zooms in, and you see Danny Lloyd and Shelley Duvall walking around in the maze. I like that transition of the miniature hedge maze to the full hedge maze. Very good camera work on Stanley Kubrick's part. Love it a lot. The practical effects in this movie is fantastic. The effects in this movie are just limited in general. It's all in camera, and it's great. But anyway, so we get to this hedge maze, and it's covered in snow. This whole movie is covered in snow, and it's great. Again, it adds that claustrophobic atmosphere by having everything just be covered in snow, and you're just being like confined into this place. You know, cabin fever consumes you in a way. But anyway, no, Jack is full-blown nutso. He's chasing Danny in this hedge maze, but Danny does this clever thing of like creating two sets of footprints to fool his father. So while Danny escapes the hedge maze, Jack becomes trapped in the hedge maze and eventually dies of the freezing cold. And you get that haunting image of a frozen Jack Nicholson with just this haunting look. And then you get that iconic image of this photo that reads 4th of July, 1921, and you see Jack front and center in the photo. And it leads it up to multiple interpretations. Is he a reincarnation of somebody? Did the hotel absorb Jack's essence into itself? It leaves so many questions, and you can interpret it any way you want. And to me, those are the best when it turns of psychological horror films like this one. So, ladies and gentlemen, with all that being said, I am definitely giving The Shining a solid 10 out of 10. This is the perfect horror movie. It's got chills, it's got thrills, it's got intense acting, it's got a relatively grounded realism to it, believe it or not. I love the imagery. Stays with you, and it'll stay with you after you watch this. The imagery will never leave your brain. This imagery will stay with you until the end of time, and it has some of the most memorable scenes, quotable lines. This is the perfect movie all the way around. 10 out of 10. If you haven't seen The Shining, what the hell's wrong with you? Get a Blu-ray, get a DVD, go on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and watch it. You will not be disappointed. I promise you that. Anyway, I am AJ Legend. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.